Hi everyone, welcome to Greeklish Outdoors. Today we are doing a winter camp in a little woodland with no tent, with no sleeping bag, no rucksack and no air mat. And it's going to be below zero tonight. All I have is what I can carry. So I have my very thin roll mat with a wool blanket, and I have under my winter coat I have a belt rig which I've got a couple of pouches on with a few essential items. There are also a few other items in the little wood which I have had here for a long time, which I will make use of. That includes these concrete blocks which I will use probably to make a back for the fire, and I have a wooden bed made out of pallet wood which I made a long time ago, which is in the woods, which I'm going to make use of. So that is going to be my bed. I have a stash of wood here which should last me quite a long time, and a few bits of tinder and kindling I will find in the little woodland. Right, first up I'm going to get this jacket off because I am absolutely boiling. So this is my belt rig that I'm wearing. I'm going to take this off now and we'll go through all the items that I have in these little pouches. First thing I have is my silky Gumboy Outback edition. I have a Finnish military 1 litre bottle filled with water. I have a first aid pouch. Inside this I have some antibacterial wipes, I have some tissues, some bandages, plasters, medication. I always keep an inhaler because you never know, some saline and various other general first aid items in there. I have my teräskrama, which is a Finnish made, they call it a sea axe. So this knife is very thick and weighty. It does everything from the work of a machete to a fine carving knife. I've actually reviewed this on my channel before, so if you want to look at that, check out the video in the playlist. So we have this large pouch. I have this little nature hike device in case I want to hang a pot over the fire later on. Because I love bugs so much, I've got a midge mosquito head net just in case it gets buggy later on. I'm not expecting it is winter, so it should be okay. I have various food items including peanut butter. I have a US MRE main meal, which is elbow macaroni and tomato sauce. I have a black bin bag. I have a flameless ration heater. I have my titanium spork. I have a little bit of fire starting material, a protein bar, some US MRE whole grain tortillas, a pack of tissues. I have some windproof matches from a Russian ration pack. The last thing in this pouch is my cook pot, and inside that I've got various other snacks and drinks, chewing gum, some jam, a very small tin of tuna fish in there, and some coffees, etc. to keep me going throughout the day and night. Right, and the last pouch is this one. First thing in here is a headlamp. I also have this, which is actually a ground sheet, but I'm going to use it potentially as a tarp tonight. Just for a little bit of luxury, I have bought my blow-up pillow. I have 2 mylar blankets, one with an orange colour. For emergencies, just in case it gets really cold, I have 2 of these body warmers. And I also have 6 tent pegs. And that is everything in that pouch. I also have my bedroll, which is just one pretty thin, to be honest, military wool blanket, and this sleep mat, which is, as you can see here, it's very, very thin. It's one of these with this reflective metal on it to reflect my heat back to me. There's no padding really at all in this, so it's not really going to be comfortable, but hopefully it should keep me warm. So that's everything in the pouches. In my trouser pockets I have the Soto pocket torch, I have a spare lighter with a bit of duct tape, I have a small amount of cordage. I've also got an extra pack of tissues and wet wipes in case, you know, I need to do a bowel evacuation somewhere. And apart from that, that is all the gear I have with me for tonight's adventure. Just for transparency, I do have this dry bag with my camera gear in. This has my spare camera and also the batteries for that. I also have 2 power banks in here and some lighting just for filming. So apart from camera gear, that's everything I have with me tonight. So unlike last time I was out here, when I was attempting to camp in the pickup truck without a tent, using just a tarp, that was a fail because the tarp ripped and then the weather was totally out of hand compared to what it was predicted. So tonight that's not going to be the case. Even though I don't have a tent, I do think I have enough items to be able to survive out here the night, and so whether I'm cold or not, I will be here. Only a major emergency is going to pull me away from here tonight. So the first thing I need to do is prep this campsite a little bit more. I need to make the area where I'm going to put the fire tonight. Probably going to use some of those concrete blocks I showed you before as the reflector. And then we'll probably collect a little bit more firewood for later on. Right, so there we have it. That's our little fireplace. Those concrete blocks worked well. Because I've stacked them up, I've put a bit of support at the back so they don't roll backwards. But yeah, that's worked out pretty well. Because this area has previously been dug out, it compressed nicely from the soil I just put in. So it actually goes a little bit lower than the main part of the ground, and hopefully then that'll keep the fire just in this area. I've got 3 of those concrete blocks left. I'm going to put them at the head side of my bed to prevent my pillow and everything else from falling off the end. So as you see, there's a few extra regular bricks here. I think I might use those in the base of the fire in some parts, just so I can have a flat spot to put my pot later on. So I think the fireplace is done. As I said, just 2-3 bricks there, just so I can put my pot on the side. I have the fire here, I can bring the coals round the side and keep things warm around there, so just adds that little bit extra stability. As you see, it's a super bright day today, and it actually feels quite warm when you're in the sun. Although according to my thermometer, it's about 11 degrees. So behind my bed, I'm going to put this mylar blanket. I'm going to scrunch up the ends, tie some cordage around it and attach it to these trees here, and hopefully it should reflect a lot of my own heat and heat from the fire back towards me. I'm going to take a little stone, put it in the corner, tie that corner off with some cordage, and I'll do that in both of the top corners. So the reflector is up. Hopefully that'll give me a little bit of extra heat from the fireplace and from my own body, and also shield me a little bit from the wind. The wind is picking up a little bit now, so I'm kind of worried how this is going to handle it. You see at the corners it's tied off to the tree, and at the bottom I have some rocks keeping it in place and keeping it fairly tight. Right, it is 2 o'clock and it's time for lunch. So I'm going to have some of these tortillas and tuna fish. I'm going to have one of these, which is this mixed fruit drink. It's from a Russian ration pack, and these are delicious. It's like cherries, apple, almost a little bit of rose water to it. They're super tasty. If I don't use both tortillas with the tuna fish, then I will spread some of this on top of one of them. It's like peanuts, hazelnuts, cocoa. Anyway, after all this work I've done today, most of it you haven't seen on camera because I did it before I started filming, I'm ready for something to eat. It's everywhere. Very tasty. I can't wait to try this Russian fruit beverage again. Cheers everyone. Oh, that's so good. So I want to thank you all for tuning in today. It's a little bit different for me to do a camp without a tent. I've never done it here before, so I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. It should be a good night. I want to thank all of you who have subscribed. You really do mean a lot to me, you guys. I love our little interactions with each other. I always find it fun and interesting. Do let me know if you have any suggestions, whether it be ration packs or gear to review or hikes, or you want to see me camp in an unusual way. Let me know. I'd like to hear your suggestions. But anyway, yeah, cheers. So it kind of looks like diarrhea, to be honest. I hope it tastes better than it looks. See how it tastes. That's very nice, very different. I don't have it very often, but the taste I'm more used to is the Nutella kind of chocolate and hazelnut, or the peanut butter taste, but this is like a really good mixture of both of those. Now, a few months ago I was camping higher up in the field behind me, and I all of a sudden felt the need to evacuate my bowels. Unfortunately, I would normally go in a hole where I was camping, but there are beehives there and the people were tending the beehives at the time, so I basically had to clench my cheeks and run all the way down this field into the woodland and do my business a little bit further in the wood. Now, fast forward to a couple of weeks ahead, I'm walking around here again in the woodland, looking for some firewood, walking around there, and unbeknownst to me, I step in my own shit. I mean, I've stepped in dog shit, I've stepped in cow shit, but my own shit? I didn't even see it when I was walking because some greenery had grown on the top of it, and so basically the first thing I felt was a soft with my boot, and I was like, oh no, I just know what it is. Most of the time I think I'm a pretty lucky guy, but on days like that, apologies, I thought my camera was running and it wasn't, but I've just put a little bit of a roof over my bed with the second mylar blanket. I couldn't make it as big as I wanted to do because the mylar blanket didn't feel as strong as the first one, so I had to double it over. But here's what it looks like. So it's not amazing, of course, but under there should reflect quite a bit of the heat from the fire later on. If I go inside this, it actually feels like a not bad amount of shelter, to be honest. Now I'm going to make a few spears, just for my peace of mind really at night time, because everything roams through here, from dogs to wolves to boar. I try to have a few just small little spears as a deterrent around my bed area, to be honest. So we have our double-ended spear. Just need to make a couple more of these and we are set for the night. Right, there we go, 4 spears ready for the night. Hopefully that should keep me safe. Right, time to prep some of this kindling. I want a nice dry bundle of sticks to start my fire going later on. So I'm a bit of a prepper, so even when I'm not out in the wilderness like today, I've always got stuff with me, such as something to light a fire with, maybe a small blade, some painkillers, some duct tape, a scarf or a handkerchief, some things like that which would help you out. Even my work backpack, about half of it is full of survival items and half of it for work items. But I like to be prepared, I don't like to be caught off guard. Last time I was here with the pickup truck, that was the first time really I've been really caught unawares and had to kind of abandon my camp. I mean, luckily my life wasn't at risk because I knew I had the pickup there, but I kind of felt I let myself down with that time. I'd like to know if you guys are preppers as well. Do you like to carry things with you in case of survival or in case of emergencies? If you do, let me know, and let me know what kind of items you take with you too. So as it stands, this is camp for tonight. Yeah, there is a bit of a gap where my head's going to be. Hopefully that shouldn't be a problem. I can always scooch down a bit on the bed. Fireplace is all ready. I'm really looking forward to lighting that later on when it gets a bit darker. I've just checked the weather forecast and it says it's going to get down to -4 tonight. That's at the village slightly up the mountain there. Here the air seems to sink a little bit and it gets a bit cold around here, so I imagine it's about -4, -5, something like that, but we will check the thermometer later on. Now let's go get some more wood, just so we have enough to keep the fire going through the night. Right, it's getting a bit chilly. It is 3.7 degrees at the moment. So I've just put my little neck warmer on. I've put my woolly hat on. One thing I didn't realise I had actually in my camera bag was a pack of 3 glow sticks. Now these will come in handy just for lighting up the woodland a little bit later on tonight. But now, as it's getting cold, and I don't want to get too cold, I'm going to light the fire. That's really nice, warming the old hands up. Feels good. Nothing like a fire to lift your spirits and make camp seem a little bit more homely too. So it was about 3 degrees here where my bed was about 5 minutes ago. It's already at 6.8. So I'm getting a nice amount of heat in here. Just depends whether the heat will be reflected back over time. I'm kind of resisting putting my coat on at the minute. Got the fire now, so that's keeping nice and warm. When it gets colder later on, I'll use that coat. That is a Romanian military jacket, and I used it before in a video, in a surplus camp video I did, and this time I've actually put the lining back into it, so keep it a little bit warmer. And that, with my wool blanket and the fire, already I can feel literally from here it is nice and warm. So hopefully, as long as the wood doesn't run out, we're probably going to have quite a nice night. I mean, it is only 5 o'clock, so I've started the fire a little bit earlier than I wanted to. But to be honest, I quite fancy a cup of tea. Whew, it is boiling out there. So while I'm waiting for the tea, I'm gonna have a protein bar. This is chocolate flavour with nuts. I know it's not really as good as a steak, but it's some protein. It's a little bit of chocolate. After a long day, I kind of need it. What do you guys think of these protein bars? Is it something you would eat yourself? These are the protein bars which I would not have on a regular basis. The ones I usually have about 4 ingredients in, that's all. No emulsifiers, no stabilizers, just peanuts, honey, wheat protein, and maybe that's only 3 in fact. But they're much, much tastier. They're much better for you. As I say, not as good as a steak, but this will do tonight. Tastes okay. Right, a nice cup of tea. Ooh, that's hot. But nice on this cold evening. So far, next to the fire, I am lovely and warm, but literally half a metre behind me, I'm not sure if you can see that, my thermometer says 3 degrees. So I'm not sure how much heat this is trapping in at the moment. When I get under here, it feels cold, so it's not trapping a lot in. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that the fire would be slightly too far away. I didn't really want to risk catching these on fire in the middle of the night. Maybe this is a little bit too low and not allowing the heat in as well. I might adjust that later on. What can I do, eh? I've got a wool blanket, I've got a thick coat, I've got some heat patches in case I get really cold, and the fire will go all night, so should be fine. I'm looking forward to a nice calm night, and hopefully for a change I actually might get some sleep. I'm hoping to have a good camp tonight, as I've had many disastrous camps recently. Last year at the end of the summer I camped high up in the mountains and a thunderstorm came out of nowhere, not predicted on the weather app, and I thought I was going to get struck by lightning and had to really dangerously move my tent into the car and drive down the mountain in really bad weather. I had the Shell 2 tent test night, which although the tent itself was great, I kept on slipping off my mat as the tent was on a little bit of a slope. The last camp you might have seen, which was the back of the pickup truck, where everything went wrong in the fact the weather changed and it shouldn't have done. the tarp ripped and it started actually throwing it down. And many other camps where I've just not had a good night, and I came back after the last camp and was talking to my wife and basically said, I just hate camping at the minute. It's really getting on my nerves. I just cannot have a good night's sleep and a good rest and a good overall camp. So I really need to have a good camp tonight to get in touch with my love, which is being outdoors. Let me know in the comment section below about your disastrous camps. So have you been like me and had quite a few in a row where it feels like, should I really be doing this anymore? So it's time for some dinner. It is 6:15. As you can see, it's gotten pretty dark very, very quickly now. The sun's gone over the mountain over there. So I'm going to have that elbow macaroni, I think. And I might have a cracker with some more of that chocolate paste on it. Ooh, instantly getting hot. Right, so it's currently -1. They say it feels like -6. So I am definitely glad I've got this fire at the moment. So it's finally time for my cup of coffee. Second time lucky. So, cheers everyone. Jesus. You know what? I forgot. It's just hot water. I haven't even put the coffee in yet. Bloody hell. Right, third time lucky. Cheers. Ah, that's better. Hi everyone, so I'm back. It's been a couple of hours since I last checked in with you. When I was laid down a second ago on the bed, I did feel it started getting a little bit cool on my lower back, but the rest of me's fine. I actually put one of the heat patches on my body because I was just concerned I was getting a little bit too cold away from the fire. It's actually much more comfortable here than I was expecting. I mean, I've got a lot of hours to go. It is only 25 to 9, so it's going to get a lot colder. So actually it says, I'm not sure if you can see that, it says -2, real feel -7. So yeah, it is pretty cold. Even though the bed I've got here is quite nice to lay on and also, you know, okay as a seat as well, it's just a little bit too low for me being quite tall, and I'm kind of hunched over and it's given me a bit of a bad back, to be honest. Right, I think it's time to have some of those crackers with a little bit of peanut butter, and I've got no drinks left, but I can have some warm water. MRE peanut butter. Ugh, I hate it when it does that. Some nice fat from the peanut butter to help keep me warm. In fact, at the minute, the side of my face is on fire. This last block of wood I put on, really kicking out some heat. Right, it's almost midnight now. So I'm going to try and get some sleep. It is very cold now, it's about -4. And the fire isn't close enough really to warm me up thoroughly whilst I'm in the bed. Maybe if this part of the shelter was a little higher, it might help. I also think because the fire is sunken into the ground a little bit, lower than I am sat here, and the fact that the wind is blowing that way, that yeah, a lot of the heat has been basically taken away from me. If anything major happens, I'll bring you back, but for now, I'll see you in the morning. Right, it is after 3. My hands and my toes are freezing cold, so I've got up to stoke the fire. I've been around the wood trying to get some twigs and things to try and get the logs to burn a little bit quicker and a little bit more ferociously, because it's bloody freezing here. I think it's about -4, and without a sleeping bag it is pretty miserable right now. Oof, I finally feel warm again. The blood's coming back to my toes and fingers. Feeling better now. At one point I was thinking, maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew tonight. It is sub-zero temperatures. I have no sleeping bag, no nothing obviously. And yeah, it's quite a challenge, but I'm going to persist. I'll feel very good in the morning once I've completed this challenge. I just have to get through it. Right, morning everyone. It's just about 7 o'clock. I've packed everything away now. It's freezing cold. My fingers are really aching. One from all the thorns that I managed to jab them with from the bushes yesterday, and also from the cold now as well. So I'm ready to get out of here. Everything's tidied up, and to be honest, I did not sleep at all. So I'm extremely tired now, and I need to drive back home. But thank you very much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Any comments, do let me know. But for now, thanks for watching. Take care, much love. See you next time.